Oh, old times. Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Incense burning, all space is filled with the fragrance. All Buddha smell it from afar. Auspicious clouds gather everywhere. With utmost sincerity, all Buddhas are here. We pay homage, we offer clouds of incense to the Bodhisattvas and the Mahasattvas. We pay homage, we offer clouds of incense to the Bodhisattvas and the Mahasattvas. We pay homage, we offer clouds of incense to the Bodhisattvas and the Mahasattvas. So, friends, a few faces we haven't seen for a while. I think I'd like to, sorry, you didn't know this, but I think I'd like to open with a song today that's going to lead us into our Dharma. And it's also the song that we're going to sing at the conclusion, just so that you can hear it a little bit. And we've had it, this is, believe it or not, for some of you who were with us a couple of years ago and heard our fledgling Dharma Voci, this is us. This is us now. And just see if you can, let's listen to the song and pick up the refrain.
Just ask the waves. They come crashing in your life if you're okay. And they'll say no. Ask the wind if the storms of life will leave you back unbent. And they'll say no.
Did the Dharma lose its power? When did the Dharma fail? Never has, never will. The Dharma stays the same. That's the refrain right there. Did the Dharma lose its power? Did it change? Never has, never will. The Dharma stays the same. Just ask the word. You pray in desperation, they're heard. They'll say no. They'll say no. Ask the grave. If you're strong enough to break free from its chains, it'll say no. Did the Dharma lose its power? Never has, never will. The Dharma stays the same. Did the Dharma lose its power? It'll change. Never has, never will. The Dharma stays the same. Not once did the Buddha miss his not once. Buddha once and lost his peace. Not once. Were disciples not rejoiced? Not once. He left them with great ease. Did the Dharma lose its power? When did the Dharma fail? Never has, never will. The Dharma stays the same. Did the Dharma lose its power? Let's change. Never has, never will. The Dharma stays the same. Never has, never will. The Dharma stays the same. Never has, never will. The Dharma stays the same. Never has, never will. The Dharma. Never has, never will. The Dharma stays the same. Never has, never will. The Dharma stays the same. 6 times. Never has, never will. The Dharma stays the same. So So today I wanted to talk about water because water is a lot of like spiritual practice. You know, there's all kinds of water. There's water that comes from the faucet. There's water that comes from a stream. There's water that comes from the ocean. There's water that comes down in rain. But it's all water. Different types of water with different things in the water, but yet it's water. If it's coming from the tap, it might have iron and sediment sediment from the pipes coming into it, or it might have lead in it. If it's coming from a stream or if it's coming from the ocean, it might have the feces and the plankton that live in the rivers and in the streams and the fish that live in the ocean. But it's still water. You know, it has other ingredients in it, but it's just water. Now, if I talk about water to just an ordinary person, I would just call water water. We just say, well, this is water and it's that kind of water, but it's still just water. But if I was talking to a scientist, I might speak of water in a different way. I might call it H2O. What is that? 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen. Is that what that is? Okay. Since 7th grade. So they would understand it in a different way. They would speak of it. They could even conceptualize it in a different way, being scientists and dealing or breaking down the elements in that way. But it's still water. So it's water whether I call it H2O, it's water whether I call it water, it's water whether it's stream water, whether it's ocean water, whether it's tap water, it's all water. Now, where the difficulty comes in is that when people see the different water, or when they taste the different water, even when they hear the water, you know, then I know whether it's trickling from a stream, a trickling stream water, or a rushing waterfall. We think of the water just as water. But when we start talking about things, particularly around our either our spiritual assessment of something or our psychological assessment of something, our intellectual assessment of something, how we feel about something personally, how we hold a particular view, the structure of how that appears for us, then it becomes very, very personal. It becomes very divided, and it's no longer just the thing, you know, because we're all attached to it in a certain way, the way I see it, the way I know it, the way I experience it, the way I understand it. But if we were to go a little bit deeper than that, it would all still fall into the category of spiritual things or of psychological conversation, of intellectual prowess. But we can't drop that low because of our tendency for selfing. But if we could see that fundamentally, to the greatest extent, we all agree on certain things, that we want to be happy. We want our families to be safe. We want to be cared for. We want to be appreciated. We want, and we can all agree on these things on some fundamental level. But when we're interacting with each other, then it all becomes a turf battle. Our ground, grasping, reaching, scratching the ground. And we can see it so clearly today. I mean, we have arguments going on where we don't even disagree. It's just like you just can't have the last word. That's all. I mean, like we actually agree, but it's just a little bit of difference right here. And I was thinking, and then that's where we get into all these, I was thinking that the way it appears to me, and we start a kind of division that there is no escape from. So one of the first purposes of engaging in a spiritual practice is to cut all that business out. And that can take a very long time because, you know, most of us, I remember when I was a Christian and they kept saying, you have to love God. I'm like, look, me and God ain't got a problem. It's this way, you know. I can't get myself together this way. And I can't find the answers to how to do it. I can't find the way to do it, in these 66 books that we call the Holy Bible. I see the ideal, but I can't figure out how to step into it. So it always sits there above me, and I'm never able to reach it, never able to grasp it. And so I was asking for help. I was praying. I'm like, Lord, you got to give me the key, the key to happiness. That's a song. You have to give me the key because I can't find it. I mean, I can understand it, but don't know quite how to step into it. Because in that very moment, when somebody's in my face, there's two kinds of people. One that's going to cower, and one that's going to knock you out. And I was the second one. And so, but I didn't want to be. I wanted to be the peacekeeper. These songs that we put together, we're not just like trolling and picking up some pithy sayings, but they all come out of our deep desire to step into some truth. And over the time that we work on a song, we work on bringing that conduct into our life. I say bringing that conduct into our life because sometimes, like it's just conduct. It's just sitting there like right conduct. It's not like it feels so good. Oh yeah, I'm just so happy that you like insulted me right now and talked about me behind my back right now. No, it wasn't like that. It was like knowing that, and yet, what will I do? How will I hold myself? How will I carry myself? Sometimes we slip a little bit below the bar, but we catch ourselves and we say, ooh, that right there, that's holding up my fundamental goodness. That's an obstacle to my joy and my happiness. Because I don't really know anybody who gets somebody straight and they feel really good. They don't. They just like put on that face like I do. But they don't. They don't because there is some intrinsic capacity in us to really know what is goodness and how it affects us. When the Buddha was talking about Nibbana and attaining Nibbana, it's not like going someplace, like we're going to Nibbana land. It's not in that way. But it's in a state of peace that passes all understanding. He said, even I don't have words because they're not to be found in this world of conditionality. The words that would describe this, they cannot be known on this side of revelation. You have to actually cross into that. It's like trying to explain what dry land is to a fish. And so it's not that we can't, that we can't explain it, is that there would be no reference for it in this world. Therefore, we have to make a change of lineage, and we change in this world. That's what we cross over. In this world, we cross over. So we're not going to a place where there's happiness and flowers, but we come to an absolute stillness of everything external to us that brings dukkha. Dukkha has been described as suffering, but the more you get into it, the less it's like suffering. It's more like where the mind is in a state of residency, steady
residency so that it can observe what comes and what goes and not be moved off of that place of stability. That means that praise can come and you won't get big headed, and blame can come and you won't feel really bad, really bad. Loss can come and you can handle losing because you recognize we can't always win all the time. And gain can come and you won't think you're better than others because you have it. There can be pleasure, but we don't get hedonistic, and there can be pain, and we can recognize that pain is also temporary. And these are like, there can be fame. You see how many famous people commit suicide, or die from drug overdoses. So fame brings with it something. There's still dukkha in fame. There's something there that still cannot satisfy, that's unsatisfactory. And yet you can be like unknown, unnoticed, and really be like just totally content because you're known by the works themselves. You have to say, I am doing this. Oh, I am doing that. Oh, I am, but just knowing that one is handled. And that brings a certain kind of settledness. Otherwise, then the meing, the mying mind is forever grasping. The only way you get rid of that grasping mind is you have to starve it. The grasping mind will never be satisfied. And so sometimes we're working, just where we are, whatever level we're at, we're working and we're not giving some recognition, some credence to the fact that we're infantile in our conceptions that equates to being needy. We're needy. We're needy, and so sometimes we have to satisfy a little bit of that neediness to just have the courage to keep walking the path. But at some point, we have to say no. We just have to just say no. It's not that you say no to me. It's not that I say no to you, but that we each look at what it is in our own life that hinders us, that keeps us feeling full of doubt, or that keeps us feeling unsure, or that keeps us feeling inadequate, or that keeps, because we have an ideal, we have a standard in our minds, and we have a standard in our heart. So what keeps us from reaching it can only be something internal. And this is like the lead that's in the water, or that leaches from the pipes of the tap water. Yeah, but I don't have that, say, necessarily in the stream water. I might have some other active ingredient in the stream water that's causing me some difficulty. I remember, I think we came to Hendersonville 2004 or 2005, right? Yeah, around there. And a couple of years later, what's that flesh-eating bacteria showed up in one of the streams. I ain't been in the water since. So I came here for all the water. The water. I like the mountains, but it was different than ocean. I'd always been like an ocean kind of person. I just like the vastness of the ocean. I just like the waves of the ocean. But as I started working on myself, I was looking for a little less loosey-goosey and a little bit more structure and definitive strength. And I said, well, then the element I need is earth element. I need the mountains. And so it came to the mountains, so hold too tightly to the earth element. We get really rigid, really fixed, really stubborn, but understand that's part of the earth element. So maybe we need to spend more time. Put one of those water fountains, like in your house if you're a stubborn you'll see how it will begin to, the water in you, and like, well, I don't know, 70, 80% water, it'll start to resonate. And you'll find you're not like as rigid, as concrete. I mean, it's amazing that there's so many things that we could do if we knew what we were not. I think I'm me. But if you cut me open, you won't find me. So whatever we think we are, we know already that that's not true. Through and through, we're not that. And yet we hold on to these notions that we are. Because this is how we identify in the world. So we identify by our differences. But the Buddha said, I've never seen a human being that was different from another. 2 eyes, 2 legs, 2 feet, a trunk, a head. He said, that's as far as you need to see. All the rest just becomes. But we are masters of the. And so this change of lineage is abandoning, tossing away our propensity for the. That's not difficult. I mean, we can find all these Buddhist ways to say these things, but you know, it can all be said in very, very simple language. I just get to the point. And we can get to the point when we're not so sensitive around the this. You have to be careful how you talk to me. You have to be careful what you say around. You have to be careful, you know, what you do. You have to be careful, you know, so everybody is walking on eggshells, and I'm gonna get you before you get me. I already know when I'm going in a certain place, like if somebody comes at me this way, I'm gonna do this. Or we're wondering if I go into that place, like, you know, because they're a little different from me. In what respect? 1 head, 1 trunk, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 feet, 2 hands, 10 fingers, 10 toes. They're general, you know, some of us lose a few things here and there. And so the Buddha says, stop majoring on the mind. This is not that difficult a path. It's just our stuckness on ourselves makes it difficult. Our likes and our dislikes. Recognizing that other people have likes and dislikes. You know, my Buddha master said, see, you change your robes, everybody got on different colors. Yeah, because I just hate everything. I just don't think by any stretch of the imagination, you know, the way we're all set up now with the priestcraft and everybody's got on the same robe, same cut, everything is looking the same. But he said, no, you know, here's the deal about clothes. Don't make a big deal out of it. Go to the charnel ground, just take the robes off of dead bodies, wash them real good and put them on. That's it. But now we got this thing, special cut, got to be measured just right. Got to have the right pattern on it. And that was a concession. They said, well, no, everybody's wearing robes. It wasn't like it's like how we see it now, but everyone who went the way of the renunciate, they wore robes, every sect, not just Buddha's sect, every sect. And they said, well, you know, like we want to be different. We want to be special. We want them to know that we're your disciples. So we need something on our robes that look different. And he looked out and there was the rice patch. He said, okay, make that pattern right there. And he went on about that and the Buddha went on about his business. He said, sometimes you just take the path of least resistance and go ahead. But I know that even when that was coming up, he could see that's going to be an obstacle. Because we're of the orange sect, and we're of the black sect. We wear the brown robes, and we wear the gold ones. And then we start the division. I'd be like this. That's right in the Dharma family. We don't have to talk about any other religions. We could just look at our spiritual practice, see that no different. We just think we're different. We just think we are supreme the same way they think they are. But when we look at the things that really make life meaningful, how we relate to one another, how we live and move and have our being in the world, not only day to day, but moment by moment, that makes one feel capable of handling, of being with anything that comes their way in the course of the day. That is a step out of the. You can have a good day, you can have a bad day. It's just another day in samsara. And I'm here. I mean, I sure don't want to go out before my time. So I should stop complaining about it. I mean, what's worse than this? Maybe dying before you're ready for the next destination. Better to hang in a little longer. And so when we start approaching life in that way, something shifts and life becomes interesting. And people become present. There, I see you, as opposed to just moving through a fog. Get up, brush our teeth, go to bed, have a cup of coffee, have lunch, read the paper, sit around. Unfortunately, some have to still go to work. Come home, cook dinner, cuddle on the TV, listen to some music, take a shower, go to bed. Restless a bit at night, but some have restless leg syndrome, cramping. Get up 4 times, go to the bathroom in the night, get up in the morning, brush our teeth, and then here we go. Oh. And it has the kind of light that can shine on all of those things that we do every day, throughout the day. It shines a certain light on them that give value and meaning and usefulness to our being wherever we are. But to really tap into it, we have to guard our thoughts. We have to watch our speech. We have to stop doing things and start doing others. Bored with your day? Get involved, help yourself. If you're so busy in your day helping people, step back a bit and take care of home. That's not for anybody else to judge you about what you should be doing. You need to figure out for yourself what you should do. So when we are exhorting you to do this, to do that, we're throwing out the things that one could be doing, but one needs to know for himself. Oh, I need to add a bit of that. It's like trying to season a dish to meet everybody's palate. No way to do, but don't you put the seasons out. And people pick up what they like. Sometimes somebody says, oh, you should try that. It's really good. Is it? Yeah, it's really good. And depending on how good it has been for you, you might convince them to just try it. Some just won't try anything. So if you always just keep doing what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. Is that enough? If it's enough, leave it alone. Don't rain on somebody else. Let them enjoy that. But one can tell when one is happy. They can't go and just look up the definition of happiness is not as simple as that. But one can know within oneself the degree of their contentment, the degree of their strength to hold something, to carry something, to see something through, to really have an inner joy that the world didn't give them. So it becomes very difficult for the world to take it. One begins to know one's own accomplishment, regardless of what somebody else said, regardless of what somebody else. One can understand causality, that when this is, this comes to be. When this is not, then what was here, that shifts, that goes away. There's going to be constant coming and going. This is the nature of this world. Not going to be any other way. Can't take up any theology, can't take up any science, can't take up any philosophy. This is going to make that anything other than that. But the Buddha says, when we come to the end of this consciousness that sees this, there is the absolute truth of truth, Prajna, things as they are, not as I've made them, how they appear to me because of whichever way my mind inclines or leans or experiences I've had in the past or what somebody has taught me, that I'm just like not only blindly following, but if you tell me enough times that I like you, I'll start seeing the same thing you see. I was reading one of the news articles about the guy who was at the Capitol on January 6th. Is that right, Dave? Okay. And he was saying, you know, I didn't really go there to do that. That I got caught up in the energy of the crowd. And so, you know, some of us are so dull-minded. You know, that's really true. So dull-minded, and the mind's already inclining in a certain way. All it needs is one pebble to just topple us. Just make us completely fall over. I mean, it doesn't really matter what you were thinking. The action is the action. That's why I talk about conduct. I didn't mean, but we use that all the time ourselves. We know what that's all about. That excuse I use. But we have to go deep and see where there's a practice that we do is called rolling all blames. And it's a very difficult practice. It's not a beginning practice. It's not a preliminary practice. It's one when a person has nowhere else to go now. We've cut away all of our superficial stuff, and we're going deep. And we take up this practice. And when I first took it up, I didn't take it up by choice. I took it up by demand. My master said, if you want to come out and study with me, she said, you have to be able to accept many blames. I said, oh, I can do that. You know, I said, sure, I can do that. No, I'm not that concerned about, you know, what people think about me. I'm not trying to like put on a show, have a certain persona. You know, I'm like, what you see is what you get. That's troublesome for some people because we're used to having a facade and carrying ourselves in a certain way. It's like, yeah, but I know how you are at home. And so I just like, you just need to be real. And if it's ugly, you need to fix that. You need to work on that. I mean, to really work on it. Not to say, oh, some people come here because they know we're working on something. So they can just come and be whoever they want because those people will accept me over there, you know. And yes, we will. But at some point, it's a disservice if we don't say, you know, you could be better. You really don't have to do it. And so, but it's everything in the right time, you know, in the best way that we can do it. The right person do it. The wrong person who maybe is also that way can't tell that other person. Let the one who can walk that out maybe say that. And so we learn these things as we, and these are living things, living ways to be. And all of this you don't just get like spelled out verbatim in a book. It comes through trial and error and observation and looking at the results. And is that the result I want to have? You know, am I more concerned about telling you the truth than about being concerned about hurting your feelings? Well, there's a time I would have said, I just want to tell you the truth. You know, like it's up to you what you do with it, because that's what somebody told me. That's what one of my teachers told me. But after a while, I said, well, you know, how about they just 50-50? I want to tell you what's true as I understand it. But I also want to be, I wanted to make it smart. I want it to be able to penetrate. I don't want you to have an armor, because then a shield against me, because then I'm think, can I penetrate? And the freedom won't come. Then I've just wasted my time, maybe even done harm. So I'm happy for strong teachers because I'm of a strong constitution. You know, like don't beat around the bush, you just have to like say whatever you need to say. But when you do, you have to watch out. You have to be able to really hear what I have to say in response. You know, and so we learn how to be with people. So one person can do something and it can be allowed for them. Another person do something not allowed for them because they can do that. Isn't this just how life is? You learn, like just within your circle of family and friends, how to talk to one as opposed to another. How to talk with one employee as opposed to another. How to talk with your boss as opposed to one of your, what is
Peers, subordinates.
yeah, associates or co-workers, you know. I mean, giving honor to whom honors due. Like if I'm running a place and I'm paying for everything, it's somebody's not, they just can't come in and tell me what they're gonna do or not gonna do. I mean, you can not do it, but you can't not do it here. You know, you have to go somewhere else and not do it. You know, I mean, some things are just basic, 101. And so we have to go through experiences of people breaking the rules. But we have to try very hard not to break the rules. One thing that, well, the Buddha Master didn't tell me this, but a few months ago, His Eminence Vince was talking to me, said, you know, you can't go to Thailand anymore and ordain. No. I said, because that's against the law. And you have to strive lawfully to do this next level of work. It was not a problem for me at all. I said, well, that's right, over the original 50. Then now about 500. That's enough. I can lay that down. I don't have to do that. But if he had said that to me 10 years ago, because some things were said to me 10 years ago, and I'm like, wait a minute, I need to do this first. And I did those things that I wanted, which included going to Thailand and reestablishing the Mikuni lineage there. But now that work is finished. There are others who have things they have to do with that. You know, just because you set something in doesn't mean it'll last. The Buddha set it in and it died out, right? So there's work that has to be done. And there's a vigilance and a diligence that has to be carried out so that we can continue to be useful, to be available to women in those countries. But that's the work for somebody else to do. So there are times of coming in, there are times of going out. Part of our maturity is knowing. And because we are creatures who like things to stay the same, life becomes deeper. Can we see that it's only because of our own sin that things don't change? Instead of embracing change, we are afraid of it. We run from it. We shrink back into our I-ness and our. How does that benefit me? What's in it for me? I like it this way. I'm ready now. But the train left the station. When the Buddha was dying, or when he had decided he was surrendering life, he told Ananda. And Ananda said, no, stay for another century. He said, oh, no, the time passed for that. When I told you, and then he recounted time after time after time after time after time after time after time that he said, Ananda, I think I'm going to let this go now. And Ananda paid him. It's only when his mind was settled and he said 3 months from now. And he said, Ananda, you think that this just came about through my action, through my business? So don't you know that all conditions are due to God? He said, I gave you, I remember, 15 opportunities to say, stay. But not once until now did you say. He said, so instead of pining over that, this is what you need to do. He said, you need to get everybody together. I'm going to give them parting words. He said, let it be so, Master. And he went off and he started making the arrangements. And each one he gave instructions to each one of his groups of disciples. And he reminded them of certain things. He said, I taught all of you with an open hand. He said, I didn't make a distinction between exoteric and esoteric. Now, if he didn't make a distinction between them, it doesn't mean that there's not an esoteric, that there's only exoteric, because that's all we know. But he says there's exo and there's eso. There's different practices that accomplish the, going up one side of the hill versus coming up the other side of the hill, but you still get to the top. He said, but I taught them both. But if you don't see them in your books, look in some other books. Because it's there. But these 84,000 Dharma methods. That's, you know, it's like just a big number. It doesn't mean literally 84,000. But it means that every single person, there is a method. There is a teaching that can free you in the very moment that Duke arises in you. And that every single one of us has the capacity, maybe not at this moment, maybe not even in this particular life, that mental continuum, but ultimately we all possess the same nature. Maybe in this way. So I thank you all for coming today. I had asked a couple of people if we could stay for a meeting. I've got too many robes on.